Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Blitz Box, which is, of course, our custom toy box showcase every single week. Well, not much of a showcase, really. It's much more of a building and creative series. Today, we've got the lovely Mickey Mouse, of course, to help us out. And as promised, ladies and gentlemen, today we shall work on our own version of a stadium. So that's what we are going for. That's the plan for today. And really, I guess the most important thing that we need to do first and foremost is kind of select the area within which we're going to work. So let's begin with that. As we usually do with this type of thing, I usually do start it with actually figuring out the right way for us to, or not the right way, but I guess the way which we're going to use for actually doing all this thing. So what we're gonna do is first lay out an entire pattern, which we're gonna use kind of as our borders, because again, the main issue with the stadium idea is really space, running out of space, and it's just simply not having enough room for the design in the same way that I would like to. So that's really the main issue. So we'll see how it turns out here. Of course, I'm hopeful that one cube is enough, because that's about as much as we can afford to give to a whole stadium. I mean, a stadium is obviously cool, and it's a really, really neat component, but we can't really give it much more than that. So, of course, we're going to use extra little details like cars in the parking lot and everything to hopefully bring it to life, so at least that's the plan. But right now, I'm not even 100% certain that the stadium will fit. I will be honest with you guys, I did go ahead and try out kind of a rough estimate of whether or not the stadium could fit, and it seemed to work pretty well. Now, the key here is going to be to not only fit in the stadium, but also additionally to that, have room for the parking lot and the cars and so on and so forth. So keep that in mind. So with that in mind, let's see. I do want to try to figure out just how much room we want to give to the parking lot. I'm going to use these sidewalk pieces as the parking lot, so that's kind of the idea right now. I looked around for maybe something else that would fit in better, but I really couldn't find anything that worked out much better for a parking lot than these pieces. For some reason, I had thought that there was specific like parking lot pieces, just like there are sidewalk pieces, but I couldn't find them anywhere. Like, I cycled through the different compilations of pieces, like all the building groups and stuff like that, and just for some odd reason, I couldn't locate it, which was definitely surprising. I was like, whoa, really? Okay, I guess it's not here. So that being said, I guess what we should do is probably first and foremost actually put in the stadium. And once we have the stadium, then we can kind of work on the other components. So what I think we will do is probably put the stadium about here, maybe in the middle. So like that, I think that should work. Then we're going to use the curved stadium pieces to curve around the edges. So that's the plan here. Then again, I know it's a small stadium, relatively speaking, in comparison to our characters, but once again, if we make anything bigger than this, it's just going to be, first of all, unreasonably large, and it's just not going to really work for the toy box. So I think this is a pretty reasonable size for the actual stadium here. So let's see if we go ahead and put in the posts, because I know everybody will like to have the the football post there. And maybe we could put a basketball one just for like fun, pretending like there's multiple sports being played, of course, within the stadium, not just one. And then we could put in maybe a basketball, put in a football, put in a soccer ball, and maybe where's the baseball? There's a baseball. Bam! So we kind of have a nice little coverage of different types of sports. So it's almost kind of not really a functional necessarily stadium, but much more so a stadium that is just for aesthetic's sake. So I think that works. Now, the main issue I just realized is probably that we can't use the sand bottom for this either. So what we're going to need to do is go ahead and get our wand, change the theme of this whole thing to something a little bit more fitting for sports, so kind of a more of a grass finish. That could work. I think that'll look nice. Now, keep in mind, what we will do right now is go on ahead, then go back to our, whoops, where was it? Decorations. And then within the decorations category, we're going to go to this stuff. And I'm very, very hopeful that this will work. All right, sweet. That works excellent. All right, so now the whole idea is we're going to... Actually, I'm trying to think now if I want to do it like this or not. But I really think it'll turn out pretty good, all things considered. I hope so, at least. So we're just going to kind of layer all this out. This is going to be a while, probably. Because all of this is essentially meant to be the parking area. So then we're going to go 2 rows thick. And then just kind of rinse and repeat the process. But then, of course, we're going to go ahead and populate this whole thing with some vehicles. Which will be the first time that we actually spawn in cars into this whole thing. So it'll be really, really cool in that sense, I hope. So let's see. Please don't be seen when we place these. As long as they're not seen from underneath. Oh, that's perfect. That's going to look great. Because then only the inside of the stadium is actually green. So it'll look really, really cool and unique in that sense. I hope so, at least. So we're just going to go ahead and fill that up like so. There we go. And then just kind of continue that pattern all throughout. There we are. All right, looking good. Now, what I want to do is with the... Oh, man, that's not going to work. Oh, man. That is not cool. All right, well, you know what we can do is we can probably put in another road there. I think that seems to be about the right thickness in that regard. Uh-oh. All right, I was a little bit nervous that you'll be able to see it there. So let's see if we put... Okay, wait a minute. What I want to do right now is actually check something first. So if we change this piece out for a sidewalk junction piece, all right, like so, and then we have this going to it, like so. There we go. All right, that works. That's excellent. That works exactly the way that I had hoped it would. Now, the main issue is whether or not a sidewalk piece will fit here. And yes, it does, which is awesome. So that is perfect. It all worked out in the end, just the way that I had hoped it would. So the only issue is I'm probably going to have to adjust that final piece there. So we'll just fix that up in a moment here. All right, careful. So essentially now we're just going to go ahead and fill out the rest of this. Oh man, why does it not work on this end? That is so strange. You'd think it would be perfectly symmetrical in that aspect, but clearly that is not the case. So let's just see how this works out and where we stand once we put all these down. And then we can kind of improvise and figure out a way to work around all this. Oh man, that is not good. Not good at all. I'm trying to think here of what we could possibly do to maybe make this still functional. And the only idea I'm getting right now is to just go ahead and fill this out the way that we would. Then grab these pieces. Push them out a little bit further. Now, you know what? I think it'll be easier to just remove all these. Like so. Whoops. And then grab this back again. Fill this in. So we can kind of get at least the outer edges all nice and good looking. And then after that, we can kind of improvise with the rest of it in many, many aspects. So what I mean by that is that maybe... Oh man, no, that's not going to look good now, is it? If I remove this, that's going to look awkward as well. Ah, yeah. I kind of wish that it would have worked out perfectly in terms of the way that this fits. But I thought maybe what we could do is go ahead and grab this part. Whoops, go to Spark mode real quick. So grab this, then instead put a sidewalk junction. And then put another pathway right here. you know, because it wouldn't be all that noticeable, honestly. So we can go ahead and put that in and that in. Now, I should probably just go ahead and delete this piece. Wait, if I delete that piece, does that really affect the outside? Yes, it does. Yeah. This is really, really bad. Because it's like tiny little pieces. It's like, this is the times where you wish that you could have like half-size piece of sidewalk and stuff like that. But unfortunately, that's not available. At least in this iteration of Disney Infinity. Hopefully in the next one, we get even more control in that aspect. And we can do even more stuff. So, all right. So what I think we should do is probably come up with something... Let's see. Is there anything that can be used? I did see this really, really, really cool piece, and I think it was the second collect. No, it might have been the third one, maybe. I don't remember which one it was. I don't remember which specific building group it was, but there was this really, really incredible piece that I wanted to use, and it might have been in here, actually. Let's see. Maybe it was in here. Ooh, it would be kind of cool to put all these billboards out here. This would be a really nice way to kind of fill out this whole area. So I think that's what we will do in a moment here, in just a sec. But first, what we need to do is, where was that? Oh, man. There was a really, really, really neat piece that I had seen somewhere in here, and now I can't see it again. Oh, there it is. The Sushi Cat. So I thought maybe the sports team will be known as the Sushi Cats or something. I don't know. It'll be pretty awesome because this thing is incredible looking. So I think we'll put one of these down like right there because it's amazing looking. That's why. That's the main reason why. And then we got to get some cars in here as well. So let's spawn those in first so we kind of have a good idea of how much room we have left after that. And then we can work on putting all these things in here. Because it would be kind of neat to have all these billboards out on the floor here. Plus, it will fill out that area that we're dealing with. So I think that would work relatively well in that aspect as well. So hopefully that'll look nice. Oh, wow. Wait, is that really going to fit like that? That's pretty incredible. Okay. I really did not expect that. I'm not going to lie. That did not look like something that would work. But somehow... it does in some weird aspect. We could put a Spidey thing up maybe on one of these. Just like, bam! That'd be kind of cool as well later on. That'd be neat. All right, so first and foremost, let's get to those cars. Wait, what am I doing in here then? We should be looking at decorations, right? Because that's where all those vehicles are, from what I recall. Ooh, you know what we could do? This could be kind of fitting in that sense as well. Ground blue arrow. Please tell me it fits on this. Yes. All right. So. Oh, wow. Really? We can't put it down on the ground? Oh, that's not cool. It would have been so cool to just put an arrow down along this way. Because I thought maybe we could put like a concession stand or something here. You know, so it's like you pay for your ticket and then you walk in. So something along those lines. So if we see something like that that kind of in some way resembles it, I'll definitely put it down there because I think that could work very, very well. So in the meantime, though, I guess let's just find our cars and start putting down a few of those because I think that'd be kind of cool. Ooh. Why don't we put... ooh, these would be great. Now that I think about it, these work great because these almost look like some sort of championship trophies or something like that, right? So these could work very, very well in that sense. Let's see. Please tell me these ones are about the same size. Yes, they are. Oh, that's incredible. All right. This was meant to be. I finally found something that we can put over here. So that works very, very well. So we've got kind of a trophy entrance. Then we put in these ones as well. There we go. And then I think we're going to have to probably cycle in a couple of these other ones. So these are repeat trophies. Our sports teams have won all the gold, I guess. And maybe something else that kind of stands out. There we go. All right. So that works. Again, it's all about the tiny little details because that's what's going to bring it to life, so to speak, and make it look unique and everything. So that's really the reason for why we're going with what we're going here. All right. Where are these cars? I thought they were in decorations. Were they not? Did I really? Oh, there they are. All right, cool. I was about to freak out. I was like, wait, did I really make a huge mistake right now? All this time spending here for these cars and they're not actually here. So, I don't know how we should park them. Like this, maybe? Come on. Alright, so these are all the fans that have come, of course, for the game. So, that's the reason for that. We're going to put down a bunch of taxis, because maybe people take the taxi, right? Or something like that. So, we'll put a few of those down here. I think that will be pretty fitting. Then, some more cars. And some more cars. I'm trying to be a little bit more random about the placement of vehicles so that it's not as obvious that there is a certain pattern to it. And let's put in one of those, and then the red car as well. And then we'll put in a couple of police cars. Why not? You know, keeping order. Maybe they came by to watch the sporting events as well. You never know. So that will work. Ooh, this is kind of a neat because it makes me think that we could have like a car dealership built out somewhere. That'd be kind of an interesting little area as well. Something different, right? So we have this. And man, I just realized this is a massive parking lot. So we are going to have to really fill this thing out a lot. But again, we have a lot of fans. The Sushi Cats are a popular team, so you never know. There's a lot of fans that have come by to watch the Sushi Cats compete in all 4 sports at once, of course, because that's how the Sushi Cats do it. They compete in every sport at once. What would be the fun in competing in just one sport, right? We have like a universal team. That's why we have all different sports accounted for. All right, so we're going to throw down one of these, and then this one. All right, so I think that this works pretty well. The front will work relatively well, I hope, as a ginormous parking garage, essentially. So that's kind of what we're going for here, at least. And I think all things considered, it actually does look really, really nice. Like, it looks super duper busy and quite organized in terms of parking. Probably the most organized parking lot ever in the history of anything. Now, what I am kind of thinking of right now, and I'm not sure if it's a good idea to do that, but we will try, is to replace this piece with another gate. So it's kind of like you can come in through either side, because I think that could work. Or, you know what? No, the problem is if we do that, then we'll have to have that weird, like, entrance that we do already have. So we kind of have to stick with what we have and hope for the best, really. All right, so buildings-wise, maybe in here there's a tiny little concession stand that we could use. That would be amazing if there is one. Whoops, why am I in set pieces? I thought it was in buildings. There we go. Something tiny. We need, like, a really, really... Ooh, you know what? This newspaper stand could work. All right, if we could just put it there. Oh, perfect. There we go. So it's like... Here you pay for maybe your tickets or your parking, and I think that works now. And it doesn't look all that awkward now, so yes. All right, we covered up for it, which looks awesome. We do want to put out some hot dog stands as well, so you can grab some food if you'd like. So we'll put down a couple of these. I think we'll put down several of these, actually. We'll pretend like it's different food carts. I kind of wish in the next game they add more food carts and such, so you could have even more varied components in that side of things. And then you know what else would be really neat, actually? If we could find something that is not a particularly large building, like this, for example. This could be like a memorabilia shop, right? So it's like after the sporting event, you'd come by and you could get yourself a t-shirt or something like that. So if we could find something relatively small, like the costume shop, for example, here. Is that too big of a building? I don't know. It does seem a little bit too large, honestly. Man, I wish it was just a tiny little bit. Whoa, did you see how massive this place is? Wow. That would take up a lot of room whenever... Whoa, okay. You want to talk about math? Look at this. It's like 2 squares wide. That's incredible. All right, that is a massive, massive building. If we ever put that into place, we're going to have to really think hard about how that's going to work. and how not to make it look all awkward. So, yeah. All right, you know what? I think we're going to have to go with this one. It's the most kind of thematically fitting. It's a costume shop, so I think it works. So we'll put this down here. And maybe even if it fits over on the other end, that would be incredible if it does. But of course it does not. It's just a little bit out of place. Oh, man, it would have been incredible if it fit. That would have been really, 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 really great. But unfortunately, it does not really fit in. So we're going to have to think of something to place down there that would fit in a certain extent. Because right now, everything that we have is just simply not going to work. It's all crazy looking and way too ginormous. So for whatever it is that we do end up putting here, it'll need to be something a little bit smaller in terms of scale. And hopefully we'll be able to come up with something in the future. Because right now I really cannot think of anything. And I don't want to just put something in here just for the sake of saying, hey, there we go, it's done. So I don't know what would fit. The only idea I have like right now off the top of my head is maybe to use some of these really, really cool like neon signs, or maybe even like one of these billboards or something, and just have those around here. Because I think that could look pretty cool, especially because, again, this is an area that you wouldn't typically look at. It's like way here in the background. So we don't want to put anything too important, but at the same time, you don't want to have something completely boring here either. So it's kind of an important area, but also not too important. Ooh, this could be kind of cool. Like pretend that this is a burger store or something, even though it's just a rotating burger. Ooh, okay, you know what we could do? Wait a minute. All right, I think we could do this. I think we could go ahead and put this and this. Right? Then maybe like, wait, where is it? Oh, that's not in here. That's in decorations. Oh, no, it's not in decorations. It's in buildings, isn't it? Oh, man, I completely forgot again. Back to buildings we go. Here we go. And then we grab another one of these food carts. And we put it between the burger spots to pretend like this one is actually serving burgers. So it's like if you want to get a burger, you'll come to this food cart. If you want to get a hot dog or something else, I guess, you'd go to the other ones that are over there on the side. So I think that will work. We could put in maybe a couple more like concession stands, even though these are obviously newspaper stands. So it's like you could pay for maybe your parking over here, right? That could work. Put a couple more of those. And I genuinely have no clue as to what else we could put over here. Maybe another like gift shop or something. Let's see if anything fits in that is a relatively small size. Like, this is kind of cool. It could be like a little arcade behind the decoration center. That would work, but it doesn't fit. Clothing center, that would work as well. All right, so I think we'll go with the little combat simulator. Where is it? There it is. And it'll fit in because it'll almost be like an arcade. So it's fitting towards this area, and it works. So this is very much kind of like the entertainment hub of the toy box itself. So all things considered, I think it turned out relatively well. We have this ginormous parking lot. It looks really, really cool. We have our stadium now complete. We have our garden complete, so that's really neat. And we still have plenty of cubes left over. So don't worry, we'll be working on the rest of the city side of things and kind of adding to that component and making that side of things thrive as well. So do not be concerned. If you have any ideas, by the way, or suggestions for what you want to see specifically on the next episode, definitely let me know in the comments section below. I always read them. For example, a lot of people have asked for the Avengers Tower to be put in somewhere, so do not be concerned. That will be happening hopefully sooner rather than later. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, and I will, of course, catch all of you lovely folks next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, everyone.